Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Carrie Furrow, and I'm going to be talking about the Roanoke City HR department. For me, this is also a continuation of my budget cost project that I did. And the reason I chose Roanoke City is because I am from Roanoke, and although I don't live in the city, I live in the county. My dad has been a city employee for about 40 years, so I thought it'd be interesting to kind of learn about. Just to start off, some basic stuff. The city was actually founded in 1740. It includes 49 neighborhoods divided up into 4 quadrants, so you can kind of see in that map there. The population is just a little over 99,000. This population is about 1/3 of the metropolitan considered area. It's made up of the city of Salem, or the town of Salem, the town of Benton, Botetourt County, Craig County, Franklin County, Roanoke County, and then of course Roanoke City. So it's a pretty big area, and this is where 1/3 of that population lives. And then you can see some demographics right there as well. For overall city operations, this is just kind of their organizational flow, and kind of like Grant's organizational chart. I like that they put the citizens at the top there, since ultimately they are the ones voting those elected officials into office. And then they're run by a council manager form of government. So they do have a council with a mayor and a vice mayor, and then that council appoints a town manager or a city manager who really just runs the administrative side of the town. And then overall, they have 11,771 full-time employees. So for the Human Resource Department, their mission really aligns with the mission of the overall city. However, I really like their last sentence that they have in their mission, where it says their dedication will be evidenced in our partnership with city departments to maximize the potential of our most valuable assets, our employees. So that just really, that statement there kind of gives a good, especially from my interview with the HR director, which I'll talk about in a second. That was really their goal, and she's really passionate about that mission. So I feel like their employees really embody that. And then these are just a couple elements of strategic focus that in their mission. And just for time's sake, I won't read these all to you, but if you're interested, I can show them to you again after the presentation's over. So as far as the Human Resource Department operations, they have 14 total employees, with the head being Angela Vernon, who I had the pleasure of doing an interview with. They didn't have a formal organizational flow. It was just kind of this little chart here with the director being at the top and everyone else kind of falling in under her. So in my interview with her, I'm not going to go into her specific answers for each of these, but these are kind of some of the questions that I was able to ask her. She was extremely busy, so it was a pleasure that I got to talk with her for the little time that I did. And just these questions, we had to meet over the course of 2 days because something came up. So I wish I could have asked her more, but this is kind of what we got to talk about. And I really liked her answer to how do you overcome biases and stereotypes of HR. A big thing that their department tries to do is really personalize each of their HR personnel. So really having them make connections with other employees outside of the workplace or even just inside of the workplace, and just making sure that they know that they're there as a resource and not as someone that's gonna be a sense of like a principal's office and get them in trouble. They're really there for helping. So going into the job posting, they had about 40 total jobs posted on their website when I first looked a couple weeks ago. For this specific project, I looked at the 911 communications officer position. Overall, in their job description, it was a really basic job description, just like any other one that you've probably seen, with all the elements that it should include. My one critique of this and a recommendation for them going forward, their job descriptions are kind of a bubble for each classification of job. They're not individualized for specific positions. So when we talk about performance management in a couple more slides, that's a big challenge for them, where they don't have that individualized job position description to use as a performance evaluation. So if I could give one recommendation on these job descriptions, that's what I would recommend, is taking the time to really individualize them to the positions. For the advertisement, it's kind of funny. So this is the job advertisement for this position that I looked at. And I think this job advertisement is great. They have a great image with their employees smiling. It's a diverse workforce. They had a little catchy gimmick in their post that they made. It's really hard to see there, but overall, it was a really great post and it got some good interaction on social media. However, this was the only advertisement for a job position that I could find. And like I just said, there were 40 total jobs posted on their website. So overall, I don't think their advertisement is very successful. Angela Vernon, the HR director, did say they try to utilize social media, but when I was looking on their Facebook page for the city, as well as department Facebook pages, I really couldn't find that much advertisement for the positions that were open. And even on their LinkedIn page, I think they had one job posted on there. And like I said, there were 40 positions available at the time. So I think they could really utilize their social media a little bit more for that. For cost and compensation, their full benefits are listed with each job description, which I think is good. That's a way to help recruit employees, as they can see their benefits ahead of time and they can kind of evaluate that. The benefits also kind of give a good option for everybody. It had a really good option for someone who may be single with no responsibility, but then it also had a good option for someone that maybe they have to take care of their spouse and their children all in their benefits package. For the rest of their positions, they have about 469 total positions in the entire city. And on their website, you can actually find the job description for each one of those positions with a pay band and a code. So these are kind of the pay grades for those specific codes. As far as the bands, it kind of gives a minimum and a maximum salary for each of those pay grades. However, that's really all that you could find there. There's not really any steps on how to progress between that minimum and maximum, or how to advance between those pay grades. My recommendation as far as cost and compensation is just really to stay competitive with other local governments. In my paper, I do dive a little bit deeper into a breakdown of the salary for some specific positions across that metropolitan area that I was talking about. And for some of their positions, they're really competitive and some of them they're not. So I think they should just keep that in mind when they're creating these cost and compensation plans. For recruitment, selection, and promotion, again, there wasn't a lot of information out there for these next two slides. And in my interview with the HR director, I was never able to address these. And when I reached out to her again, I never heard back from her, which is okay. So for recruitment, she did say that they really try to go to a diverse amount of job fairs. So they try to go to ones for people with disabilities, people who are veterans. They try to go to job fairs at historically Black colleges and historically Black communities. They go to the local high schools. They just really try to spread their reach to really recruit that diverse workforce that they're aiming for. She said that they try to use social media. And again, as I said in the advertisement section, the social media usage wasn't all that great. And then they just really try to brand themselves. So for the police officers, for example, they're still actively recruiting many positions for the police department. So they're trying to just change the branding and the face of the police department in the community so people aren't looking at them as the bad guys. For selection, the only details that she gave me for this were that when they're in their selection process, they try to make sure that applicants are aligning with their core values of the city, which a couple of them, for example, are respect, responsibility, integrity, diversity, and inclusion. Other than that, it was very vague for the selection process. And if I could give a recommendation for that, I would just say to make sure that they're looking for the most qualified candidate that also aligns with those core values. And then for promotion, what we talked about for this is she said that they do have leadership tracks for employees. So if someone comes in and they want to be a manager eventually in this organization, they can set them up on this learning track so that they can get them where they want to be. However, she didn't really say whether that was something that's offered for all employees or if they have to take initiative and come to them and say that they want to be on the track. It was very unclear there. And then they also offer a lot of continuing education courses for their employees. And that's everything from soft skills to hard skills. So Microsoft Office and computer skills, and then also leadership and public speaking courses, things like that. So they try to really work on educating their workforce and helping them gain skills to improve their jobs. However, it's just really unclear that promotion flow and how exactly they're going about that. And then lastly, for performance management, again, I really didn't find a lot on this. And if you look at their job description, like I said before, their job description really can't be used for performance evaluation because it's not specific to the position. So if I could give some recommendations to them, it would first to be to come up with some timely and consistent feedback process for this evaluation. Employees really need to know what's expected of them, and they need to know that they're doing the job that they're supposed to be doing to make sure that they're staying on track. So that's going to be really important for them to incorporate in their work. And maybe they already do and I just couldn't find it, but if not, that's something that they should consider. And then when they're considering this, they really need to have that employee buy into the process. Employees need to feel like it's not a waste of time or just busy work that they're doing. They really need to be bought into this evaluation and know that it is for their benefit in the long run. And then they should also consider setting some goals. And these could be project goals, behavioral goals, or even long-term goals. But when they set these goals, they just need to be those SMART goals that we've talked about: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, so they can just keep up with those. And that's it. So thank you very much.
Questions for Carrie?